One of the biggest is just simply environmental stress. For example, just exposure to harsh conditions. You have extremely strong UV index that could have negative impacts on plastic over time and cause components to weaken. Freezing temperatures, things become more rigid, brittle, and can have negative impacts on the antenna material, just as they would with any other materials over time. Mechanical stress. I've spoken with Border Patrol agents driving through brush, trees. They'll snap antennas off. That's something common. Corrosion in Buffalo, New York, where we're based out of. They heavily salt the roads in the winter. There could be corrosion that can make its way even up to the roof and onto the antenna. Frequency of use, just naturally things will wear out quicker when under a lot of load. Improper handling, not carefully installed, perhaps damaged in storage. There's kind of a lot of different things that could potentially happen in that case. Big one too is just simply overloading with too powerful of a radio. Exceeding the electrical rating, you can definitely burn it out, cause some issues with it, and reduce the lifespan of the product. The biggest would be following the manufacturer guidelines and instructions on how to install the product. We've done the testing, the engineering on where it's designed to be installed, how to get the best performance out of it, and we include that in our instructions. Other stuff, just simple things like making sure the mounting is secure, making sure your cables are all installed cleanly through the vehicle and not near any other electrical components that can cause RF to bleed into other stuff. For instance, like if you have an antenna too close or a cable too close to your radio and you're keying up the mic on the radio, that power will bleed into the other electronics in the car and cause things to act really strange. We've heard stories of like people turning on their radio and brake lights will come on, or even rear wipers will start moving. And then just ensuring everything's installed properly in terms of grounding. If an antenna is not grounded correctly, it won't perform as it's needed. And that boils down to really optimal placement. And again, ties back into just really following those installation guidelines when it comes to putting the antenna on your vehicle or any other use for it. With just standard weather protection, right, those harsh conditions will have negative impacts on the product over time, just as they would with anything else. Some other things to consider too is if it is an antenna, the requirement has certain environmental ratings and standards that need to be met. We do have antennas that are put through those tests and do meet the ratings. Simply taking the mast off when entering tight parking garages, car washes, if you're parking somewhere maybe there's low-hanging objects, anything like that can help prevent and reduce just any breakage in the mast that can even actually break the entire antenna. That's an unfortunate thing that can happen from time to time. Beyond that, I would say regular just inspections. Make sure there's no obvious damage, loose connections, anything that may impede the performance. Avoiding that overload where if the antenna has a power rating up to a certain amount, not going beyond that will definitely increase the lifespan of the antenna, keeping it within the specifications that it was designed for. Lastly, just simple stuff like maintenance, cleaning it off, perhaps even take the antenna off the vehicle, clean any connections out, just make sure everything is properly set up, properly installed, and you'll have the best performance for the long term.